Obviously, he's spectating from the stream, guys, so he'll be a little bit delayed for Champion Select. Ban's coming out right now. Thus far, though, it's Ziggs. He's banned. And
Poor
Thresh.
Ziggs. Yeah, get rid of those guys. I hate them. I
I
want
hate
to
them
see
too.
bans adapt from the side of Invaders. They could go for a LeBlanc ban, as Ocelot's LeBlanc really kind of drove them through that early to mid game. At the same time, they could go for Nocturne. There's a lot of viable choices for the bans now, and gamers who are looking to get that second game in. If I was gamers too, I would not want to go to the third game just because of how shaky the start was with game one. I would really want to just get a game out of the way ASAP, not let Invaders get any control at all. Just ride that momentum right into Ripping Pepperoni, because that is a strong lineup.
Yeah, indeed. It will be a very interesting one to see. We have got the Kha'Zix ban out from Gamers 2, then the LeBlanc from Invaders. So, as you say, getting rid of that assassination potential. There are other assassins that can work with Nocturne very, very effectively. And I kind of wonder if Gamers 2, and Ocelot specifically, will have practiced Kassadin, because we're starting to see a bit of a resurgence on him in recent weeks, since he was buffed in the last patch quite a lot.
There was definitely that moment when his remake first happened. Everybody went, how does he actually work? Don't know, don't care. And then with the recent changes, he's picking up a lot of pace. We saw him yesterday used very effectively. And frankly, he's a good champion that just requires a lot more adaptation than he used to in the past. So if Kassadin can definitely work with an assassin like Nocturne, it's definitely someone that Ocelot, I'm hoping he's practiced. But we don't know for sure. They may not even pick Nocturne on the side of Invaders. They could go for more of a push-style composition as we saw before, but I do like seeing Ocelot on assassins.
Yeah, right now, though, locked in Lulu. He does play that one. I'd say the three champions we see the most out of Ocelot are probably Lulu, Nidalee, and LeBlanc. So he's actually got quite a variety in his roster, but it is a relatively small roster. We do see a couple of others coming out if necessary. But I'm interested right now. The Chosen One is hovering over Aurelia, and yet Jax is open. I find that an unusual choice.
Well, he was very limited in the Jax play last game. He could never find a decent initiation. And I really, just because of the reduced CC on her, the tenacity really provides a lot more mobility in team fights. Like, it's impressive how much more you can do in terms of just getting auto attacks off. I think Jax does more in the end, but with the way the game played last time, he himself could not do a whole lot as Jax versus Aurelia. So maybe that could be the adaptation, play someone a little bit more hard to lock down. At the same time, he really has to make sure he engages in the fights properly, as Aurelia does have a little bit less defensive stats besides that increased tenacity.
Yeah, Gamers 2 now have gotten three major comfort picks for them. They've obviously got Yuki's favorite AD carry, I think I can say relatively safely, in the form of Lucian. They got the Nocturne, they've got the Lulu, so already building themselves up to be a pretty strong team fight, very strong, basically from the mid-game onwards as well, with their particular choices here. Sol's Pure Effect hovering over Cassiopeia, but sadly, I don't think they're going to go with that. Maybe. I actually saw it recently. I can't remember what tournament it was in, but somebody ran Cassiopeia mid, and then got focused out. Did very well early on, and then got focused out in the mid-game, late-game team fights, which is exactly what always happens to Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia has one spell with OK range, and that's Noxious Blast. Everything else, well, Miasma is sort of okay too, but the Twin Fang and the Ultimate are very short range. You are not a tanky champion. You kind of walk up and die in team fights. It's Cassiopeia, and she's a champion I love. You just mash buttons when you play her. It's awesome, but she is unfortunately not that good.
I did learn, though. I did learn with Cassiopeia in that game, you can flash her ult animation, like with a lot of the other spells out there. So you can start it up, flash, and then land it instantly, which is pretty scary. I'll say that. The other thing, of course, that I hate about Cassiopeia, is that if the thing you're targeting dies, even though it's poisoned, you still lose the cooldown on your E. It's really stupid. But doesn't matter. Obviously, not being played this game, we do see the Nunu from I'm So Fresh, and I am pleased to see that, because I'm So Fresh is Nunu. He didn't necessarily have the best showing of it yesterday, but you saw how strong he was early game against our Resting Pepperonis. He snowballed the game. He had huge jungle control, and he was a massive pain. They threw the game, but it was because of Nunu they got so far ahead. And I've seen Invaders in the past with that Nunu go just so unbelievably strong in the late game. And I don't actually think the Feral Flare choice is a bad one on him. He actually does become a major late game threat, which is something that he normally does not do with any other item build.
If you think about normal Nunu contribution late game, it's dramatic ults in the brush, spamming Blood Boil on the carries and using his nuke for a slow. Not for the damage. It does scale decently. It's 1-to-1, but he doesn't have a whole lot in terms of AP. However, he gets a lot of attack speed because every time you Blood Boil your AD carry, your Aurelia, guess what gets applied to Nunu as well? That Blood Boil buff. So Feral Flare, because it is so attack speed based in its damage output, is incredibly effective on Nunu. It's a cool pickup. It's not a pickup I'd say works every single game. Sometimes he might be forced into a more supportive role. Sometimes he can just go ahead, keep grinding in the jungle and building up that Feral Flare. But, I mean, Perfect, or not Perfect, but I'm So Fresh makes it work, which is what makes it so cool.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to see how much control he can exert over Nocturne this game. Obviously, Nocturne, not the strongest in the early game. He does have a spell shield, so it's going to be hard for Nunu to actually kill him in the jungle. But what we saw yesterday was he was just roaming around the enemy jungle and stealing away all of the camps. I mean, there is very little Nocturne can actually do to kill a Nunu if he finds him in his jungle. So he's free to invade as long as he's not in a horrendously bad position and being caught out like that.
I'd say Nunu is a jungler where, like, some kind of junglers you look for kills, some junglers you look for farm. He is someone where you look for laugh and taunt spam because you're just going around being a huge jerk. And it's all based off consume. It's really fun. Like, I love doing it, but you're not getting kills. You're getting jungle kills. You're getting the creep kills. And so it's all about that farm, all about denying your opposition through indirect means. Go for the farm instead of the champion.
Yeah, the art is learning to convert that jungle weakness on your opponent into objectives later on. But guys, we're just going to be going into the delay timer now, 3 minutes ticking down. So we will be right back when we're on the Rift, guys. In the meantime, feel free to check out our sponsors, Logitech and ProBuilds.net. They will be little adverts in the bottom of your screen, as you can see. And obviously, guys, we'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solomid Invitationals 2014. We are onto the Rift now. This is Gamers 2, and they are going up against Invaders. I'm Spuddington, joined by Studio.
And of course, Gamers 2, they're ahead 1-0, looking for that 2 to match their name. And if they can't do that, they'll advance to the finals, meet Rest and Pepperonis, a overall solid team that they have not played yet. However, we already saw a 2-0 in the past from Invaders, so results are already kind of offbeat compared to yesterday. So we'll see if Gamers 2 can make something happen, or if Invaders can go ahead and reprise what they did yesterday.
Yeah, so Gamers 2 have already improved on their previous results. I'm so fresh, though, going with the Nunu this game, and we saw him really put Rest and Pepperonis through the ringer with that. Ocelot is just going to say hi. Once again, little arms, a little bit of damage. And looks like they're actually going for the double ward invade here, because of course Nunu has so much sustain, he just doesn't need any pots.
Yeah, he really didn't take that much damage to the jungle. You just toss down consumes, and he eats waves right up. Not the waves, but the jungle right up. It's 402 true damage, and then an extra bit of healing. And of course, depending on what you get, you can actually get additional regeneration as well. So he's a tough cookie to shut down the jungle, just because he's so flexible. I do want to see if they are able to go ahead and survive the Nunu jungle pressure, or if all their camps will get eaten and they'll have nothing to show for it.
That is true. Now, it looks like Mr. Fresh is going to be starting off this in blue, but meanwhile, his own red buff, which is not warded, is going to be stolen, and the Chosen One is actually hitting around the area. He'll have actually seen the Duskbringer, come to think of it, going through the wall there, so he knows the Gamers 2 are taking this away.
And there we go, there's that knowledge going towards Nunu. So Nunu can go ahead, rotate towards the bot part of the map and just try and counter jungle ASAP. The one gets hit by a cleaver, well, briefcase at this point. And this is a good play from Gamers 2. They're going to go for that 4-0 push they did last time again, it seems. And with that, they'll just try and go for a heavy push, force Nunu into the lane instead of into the jungle, and balance out that jungle advantage Nunu normally gets.
We actually, last time we saw him play this, he actually pulled an interesting move in that it wasn't actually a 4 versus 0 situation that game, but he stuck with his team to try and hold the towers, and then was actually able to roam around and take jungle camps because he was able to take them so quickly. It looks like this time they do not intend to allow this to go ahead, but you've got to be very, very careful in this situation. Soraka has already had to flash out. If they go in again, this is still super, super risky, but here comes the teleport. This is now a 3 versus 4, and that means you can't dive it.
And Chosen One only level 1 though, so even though it's 3 versus 4, it's a hard dive, but they can still very easily be picked off. Purepick does not have flash available, however, we already see Mundo and Nocturne roaming out of the lane, gonna stop that 4v0 push. Unfortunately, Duty could not land the Zenith Blade early onto Purepick, which probably could have led to his kill, maybe burned his heal as well. In the end, though, JWoww will be hanging out in the bot lane, being that Mundo is a sustainy tank, trying to not take too much harass, actually, as he's already done half HP, and laning is going to be a little bit more standard at this point.
But the beauty of what Invaders have done here is this is going to prevent Nunu from being forced into a lane now. And it's given them the advantage in the tower race. Come to think of it, Silver Carry, Caitlyn is already getting that tower down to, what, 25% health at this point, so they will win the tower race. They will have Nunu free to roam around. This is a really good situation.
It's got 1 wave left, and unless JWoww gets a lot of help, really the next 20 or so seconds, that turret's going down. And Doctor can't even provide that much aid. He can walk up, try and auto-attack, but they don't have a lot of... They'd have to land a lot of cleavers, have a long, kind of sustained CC style of fight to even take down Caitlyn or scare them off. Morn will get his own red buff though, so that is, I believe, a 3 buff advantage now for Gamers 2. So Nunu's still falling behind in that department, but just camping up top lane instead of going for that jungle farm.
Yeah, he's not going to be too upset about this, and so's Purepick. He clears the wave well enough that this tower is going to take a long time for Gamers 2 to take down. So how will they capitalize on the JWoww actually in the bottom lane, getting rooted, taking a lot of damage from the Ignite here. Will he drop? Yes, he will.
Rough for JWoww. He just stayed a bit too long, got hit at a binding at the wrong spot, and well, Greedy Mundo with no heal, no cleanse, is a lot easier to pick off at this point in the game before he gets that ultimate. Top being pushed in now, Purepick trying to hold the wave. He was level 1 or level 2 before, and I think that's why I'm so fresh stayed around for so long, making sure he got that experience. Yuki taking a lot of damage though, and he can't go for an aggressive push now. Soraka can actually kill him quite easily.
Well, potentially not, though. Leona's still scary, and they have got the exhaust on him. Another heal used. Duties may have gone too deep here. The banana have followed. They got the kill, but they will lose some damage on the tower here.
That's rough to go for the 1-for-1. It gives Purefit some farm, it gives him some experience. More importantly, which means level 6, that global ultimate going to come a little bit sooner than had we not seen Duty go down. Binding does land on the JWoww, taking a lot of damage one more time. Still not level 6, nor close to it, so no good regeneration for him. Has to rely on that passive, which is handy, but not exactly the same as 60% of his HP, or 40% over time.
Yeah, so the push is continuing here. Soraka is returning to the top lane, and Leona has actually been forced to come down for this bottom lane area. Yuki going to recall from the top, but they still haven't taken the tower. If they can get a decent bit of damage here, and maybe look to try and take a dragon as well, this could work out, but they've got to be very careful, because they know there's 3 people in the area, they know there's a lot of hard engage, and I don't think they know when Morden is going to hit 6. Probably not too soon, though. I think they can guess.
It's a guess, a little bit of an estimation. He is doing quite well in experience, actually. Not quite as caught up as Ocelot. On I know Ocelot versus Aurelia in the mid lane. Aurelia's at 38 CS, Ocelot's at 42, but Aurelia did roam top lane with that teleport. However, the problem Ocelot's having is it's hard to really kind of lock down Aurelia, and Aurelia just has so much sustain that she's just been able to kind of take Lulu harass and then deal with it. Like auto attacks will land on the Chosen One. The Chosen One does not care. He just has so much sustain from that Doran's Blade and hidden style.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult for Ocelot. Because this is one of the things, obviously, Lulu is a much lower damage mid lane now. It's difficult to avoid her damage, so mid lanes with no sustain, which is almost every mid lane, are going to have problems in that regard. Aurelia, not so much, although her sustain is also, thank God, a lot weaker than it used to be. Chosen One could potentially go for the dive here with I'm So Fresh in the area. Looks like they're just going to Blood Boil, looks like they're just going to look to take the tower here. Heals are down on Source Perfect. He's still quite squishy, and it looks like Gamers 2 are thinking about this, but they're not thinking very hard about it.
Yeah, Flash does get burned by I'm So Fresh. Gamers 2 is just showing up to kind of show their presence and scare away anybody that might push that turret down without minions in the area. Binding does not connect, and well, this is a 2-man defense versus 4, but with a Soraka backing them up, this turret's going down.
Yeah, I don't see them holding that. That's just going to drop. There we go. Dude actually does go for the engage here. Tries to get the Chosen One. Paranoia comes in. They're still trying to focus this down, but summon a heal. All the heals from Soraka, and nothing comes of it. Well, I guess they got the summon a heal. Yes.
Blowing the summoners is nice, but it's not the turret. It's not the objective. They need to make something happen in response because they're down 2 turrets. They're down a kill. This is the same goal that we saw last time, and there is a much better game coming out from Invaders this time around. Last time it was, they got the turret in the early push. It was aggressive, a little bit sloppy towards the end. This has been pretty solid all around. Only 1 death, and well, that was a 1 for... Actually, the 1 death, the 1 kill was a 1-for-1. So they've been playing very clean compared to last game.
Yeah, they did just lose the dragon, but they may be able to get the top tower in return. Mundo teleport is up, however, so most likely not the case. Nunu is in the enemy jungle. He's in his home. He's going to steal away this blue buff.
You can TP top, but he TP's top into a 5v1 at this point. So,
yeah.
Alright, he'll make it there. That's great. Will he be able to do anything? Probably not. Not a lot of wave clear on Mundo. And yeah, he had a lot of sustain, but not enough for 5 people. Aurelia is TPing bottom. This top turret, probably not too long for this world. Still 3-man strong, and Purific does not have the ultimate mid lane.
So Invaders are playing a really fun game here. They are keeping a lot of control over who takes the towers first. I'm So Fresh has been detected. He's solid snaking, but I'm not sure he's going to live.
What? Whoops. What was that? I'm So Fresh.
Little bit too brave.
He gave away the kill. That was just silly. Like, I don't really know how else to explain that one. That was a silly play. Do not do that. He's not that far enough ahead. He does not have a lot of tankiness. Madras Raiders is not exactly a whole lot of defense because they don't have any more armor or defensive stats anymore, so kind of rough from his side.
He's clearly not doing it right. He's supposed to make it look like a dramatic escape, not actually kill him.
The
That's like killing your
stunt
stunt
around him.
They just shot the stunt
killed James
actor.
Bond. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Secret
Daniel
Agent
Craig is
going
dead.
down. Oh, that's rough, though. And now they're turning this around to a turret push. It's still going to be a little bit difficult because Caitlyn Morgana wave clear is powerful. And we'll have enough time to show up and help defend. Mundo himself going to, I think, focus more on farming the bot lane more so than going for any sort of pushing at this point because he really needs some items. He has not had a solid early game. And 4-man strong gank. Gamers 2, they have to escape this, or not Gamers 2 from Invaders. DOD is hit though.
Yeah, you got to be very careful because they can dive this, potentially. Or maybe they won't. No Soul Shackles. They've got the armor buff from Soraka if they choose to go for it, but they can now see Lulu, so she's a bit close.
Pure Effect, he might get caught out here if they do catch him with the slope.
Uh-oh. He's got an angry person on him. Actually, he's got several angry people. Absolute Zero does come down, cancelled by the Wild Growth, but now it's I'm So Fresh. And the culling actually also picks up Soraka off to the side. I'm So Fresh gets taken out. Dodgy positioning. Again.
It was aggressive play. It's like, all right, we have an advantage in terms of this push. We'll just go ahead and camp the jungle. But they didn't clear out the ward coverage. They were caught out by the Lulu and just set them up for such a horrible fight. Perfect does not have enough items to be a tanky, annoying Soraka. At this point, he doesn't even have the Themes and Holy Grail, which is what you normally expect. Morgana is hit by the Zenith Blade. Does have the shield available, though. There goes Morgana.
Okay. He clearly decided there that what they wanted to do in that situation was to go for the kill on Yuki. Caitlyn could have tried to put down a bit more damage, but I don't see that working. I think Silver Carry was the one actually making the right call to say, nothing I can do here, just run for it.
Unfortunately, Wendell did not have his ultimate available. If the Soul Shackles were up, maybe they could have secured that kill. I think what really has to sting for Invaders now is that they did not take the top turret. They could have taken it while Soraka and Nunu were unfortunately being taken to the grave, but they went to aid, and in doing so, they spent more time moving across the map than taking out the turret, and they could not get the objective in the end. Invaders, they fall behind now by 1.7k. I'm a little bit less scared of Gamers 2 team comp if they get ahead this time around. No super scary LeBlancs, but still, if they keep going for, I'd say, brave plays, that bravery is not going to go unpunished.
Yeah, it's not so much the bravery, but just the flat stupidity that's gone in with some of them. But now, JWoww,
okay, yeah, I'm so fresh.
Ultimate. Yeah, I'm so fresh. He's going to get Cleaver slows, but I don't think they can kill JWoww. He's going to play as Honey Badger as I'm So Fresh thinks he is. He's going to just keep chasing this in. He's got the Cleaver spam, and in the meantime, Paranoia on Soraka picks one up, and they will get Duty onto the Chosen One. Here comes the Absolute Zero, but the Chosen One has stuck around, and this is a terrible, terrible place to be. I'm So Fresh going to have to flash out. Can he get away from this? I don't see it, but then actually there's no mana for the Duskbringer, so there's not even a point in chasing.
Miracle Binding coming out from Wendell, making sure that Ocelot could not go for the chase. Unfortunately, the Miracle Binding only keeps someone alive. The bottom turret's still going down. Trade 1v1 between Yuki and Silver Carrier, but Yuki, I mean, he's got the advantage of his team being around. He's got the advantage of the 4-man pushdown. Binding does land on the Yuki, though.
Oh, no. Silver Carry. He's going to live. The heals are good, but it's still another kill for nothing. Ace in the hole comes out. JWoww too tanky. Can they chase this down? No, they cannot. They do not have the CC. At least not with Nunu getting permaslows, and he doesn't dare get that close. He's not that tanky.
Gamers 2 have got to get out of here right now. Ocelot does have some decent HP, but mana is low. Of course, I'm So Fresh. We'll be able to easily secure that blue buff.
Secure.
That's Nunu at his finest right now, but like you said, there's been some just odd plays. Like I'm So Fresh walking through that top turret. I don't know why he did that. And it's really plays like that are kicking them in the butt right now. It's hurting them quite a bit. They're behind by about 3.5k gold now. Gamers who have really kind of exploited Invaders well. That's the best way to put it. They are able to deal with some of their pushes. They're playing a little bit more defensively against those. But the second someone goes for a more aggressive play, the second someone's out of position, they group up and they do not give any room for an escape.
It's a bizarre set of plays, though, because their macro strategy was so good early on. Like, they were playing the map flawlessly, frankly, and yet suddenly they're just throwing it away with these bizarre decisions where it's like, I'm just going to completely ignore Lucian's damage. Like, as if he just had not registered his presence, and hence made a terrible decision as a result of it. So very, very odd, honestly. A weird mixture, and maybe we'll see them refine that as time goes by, but right now, this is a game that's in progress.
They got to refine right now if they want to stay alive.
Yeah, that could be difficult for them. They're certainly going to try for the Dragon here, going for the proactive engage here. I'm So Fresh is getting locked down. He's going to get bursted out very, very quickly here, but it actually does not go down. They do not have the damage right now. Binding goes down on JWoww, but this is a situation where Mundo is quite good. The regen will be strong over time. Soul Shackles does very little. And here comes the Ace in the hole, shielded. Here comes the dragon. I think Gamers 2 should be able to get this, unless I'm So Fresh is too new for them. But he's
So Fresh doesn't have flash up, so you'll have to walk up, go for the Consume Smite Seal. He's just going to back on out, it seems. If he wants to go for the Smite Seal, has to do it right now, but cannot secure it. They could have tried to make something happen over the side of Invaders, maybe really going in, but they just didn't have the mana for it. Oh, here comes Nocturne, though!
How wow, he turned it around. Very nice done. Very nicely done there by the Chosen One. Good reaction play. Here comes the Wish. Not enough, but they trade 1 for 1 instead of 1 for 0.
It's at least still something, and of course with the experience Nocturne level 9, it's actually not a massive experience game for them either. It's a little bit unfortunate. If they really could get a kill though, Yuki has got to go down. 7-0-2, has the Bloodthirster, absolutely terrifying right now. He's got the most gold in the game, and it's really showing because, man, his burst is crazy at this point. That last fight, he actually managed to land, I believe, a 4-person piercing light, which, if you think about how much damage that's doing, that's 350 across 4 people. That's 1,400 damage burst in an instant. And that was just good positioning, and of course, his solid gold at this point, making that hit for quite a bit more. So, I want to see, I don't know what I want to see from the members of Invaders, because Perfect is not able to do a whole lot right now. He's just getting dove on by Nocturne. What's happening? He's Soraka, but he's a non-tanky Soraka, so he just dies. He's not a whole lot of use in teamfights because he's so easily picked off. Wendell has been doing a good job keeping himself alive, but he's kind of in that same position. He's good for a binding, he's good for a black shield, soul shackles, not doing a whole lot. They have to make something happen with really the Chosen One and Nunu. Just, I'd say in terms of split pushing, being aggressive. Just because with Nunu Blood Boil, they might be able to skip Nocturne, but Wendell though.
Yeah, that was not a good place to be if you're Wendelbow there. That was on a scale probably in the lowest 10 places you could possibly be on the map. As it is,
the nexus of the enemy.
The enemy spawn pad is probably still a lower point, although actually that would just be an execute, so maybe that's
you're right. So actually, it might be a better place.
Yeah, I'd rather
be engage
on the enemy spawn.
This is not a good place for I'm So Fresh to be. They cannot engage here. The Nocturne ult is down, so maybe they can pull it off, but still, it'd be a 5v4 very quickly.
I think they're going to just keep suffering like this unless they can manage to get picks, because that is the one thing their composition can do. The problem is there's not a lot of easy targets to pick off. JWoww is way too tanky. He's just a bit too mundo, and actually maybe trying to turn around on the Chosen One right now. He won't be able to get it. Soul Shackles comes across, but it's not really doing a whole lot. Tormented Soil also much the same. And the culling is a zoning culling, but it's, still doesn't matter. They get a tower.
The culling not actually going for a heavy culling, it's a light culling. The light culling is still enough to defend that push, really. Defend their own push versus the enemy team's defense. You say they can go for pickoffs, and they can, but I think they're just too far behind at this point for a lot of these champions. Like you said, there are not good targets for pickoffs. The easiest target to lock down is going to be really Leona and Lulu. Lulu, of course, has her ultimate and has a lot of mobility from her Whimsy, and Leona is quite tanky at this point, already repping a Face of the Mountain, so she's a beefy Leona. This is not Leona that you can just kind of casually burst compared to most supports. So who do they end up picking off? I really don't know, and with her lineup, they don't have long-range initiation either.
Yeah, what's the alternative, though? You go for a team fight against this comp? Yeah, it's just horrible lose-lose situation.
You know what they have to do? It's time for them to play Nunu in the brush. Like, I think they have to camp their own jungle, but the thing is, the ward coverage is so good from Gamers 2. Like, look at that top side of the map. They are missing one brush, like, past, like, the right top side of the map. So that's so much vision, so much just control on Windlebro. Windlebro. I mean, if he survives, he'll be a Windlebro. If not, he's just a normal Windlebro. I think Windlebro actually does make it out, though.
Oh, will he, though? Because remember, the culling does not really care about range or minions. He's actually not got it at the moment, which would be why he isn't using it. So, doesn't actually matter at that particular moment. The Chosen One finding Diud, though. They are zoning off the rest of Gamers 2. Diud does get out, followed by Irelia. They will pick that up. No ace in the hole necessary. Mundo's pushing down bot lane, but Irelia...
I like this.
Oh, wow.
I like this a lot, because they're behind, and they know it, and their team is not exactly good at getting back from behind. Do this Baron. If they can secure it, they have really good ways to secure it with Consume and Smite. They're trying to fight this off, though. I don't know if they can do it. Baron picking up Wendell.
Oh, Nocturnal going down. I'm So Fresh is going to absolute zero. In the meantime, they're trying to catch Yuki, but they just can't catch him. He's too slippery. He's too fast. Turning it around. Soz Pure Fed goes down. I'm So Fresh already dead. Silver Carry now left in a just top 10 worst places to be on the map at the moment, and that's going to be Gamers 2. Turning around, they'll get this Baron very easy. We actually see
I think it's going to be game.
Yeah. 20-minute surrender.
So, I gotta say something about Gamers 2 name does lend itself to some bad issues, where if you say it's gonna be game, until you say the ERS part, I thought you meant the game was ending, which it happened to be ending at the exact same time. But Gamers 2, fantastic play, really just getting away with that game so quickly. There was that early game, it's that first 5 minutes of the game where Invaders have control. Immediately afterwards, though, it all just comes apart so fast with a proper punishment and just a little bit of exploitation on the side of Gamers 2.
Yeah, at the moment, Invaders